Do you believe there should be a special counsel appointed to investigate the allegations against Hunter Biden?
To this point, I have not seen a reason to appoint a special counsel, and I have no plan to do so before I leave.
Attorney General William Barr's decision to decline Republican calls to appoint a special counsel for Hunter Biden before the Trump administration left office was the right one. As we warned in an editorial at the time, a special counsel can bury a case in secret for years, and an AG can duck questions by saying that's the special counsel's job.
I'm hoping that the next administration handles that matter responsibly.
This week, Merrick Garland essentially made that point for us.
You don't recollect whether you've talked with anybody at FBI headquarters about an investigation into the president's son?
I don't believe that I did.
In contentious testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, President Biden's Attorney General wouldn't even say whether he talked to U.S. Attorney turned Special Counsel David Weiss about Hunter's case.
Can you tell us about any briefings or discussions that you personally have had with Mr. Weiss regarding any and all federal investigations of Hunter Biden?
I'm going to say again, I promised the Senate that I would not interfere with Mr. Weiss.
So you have not, I'm just, under oath today, your testimony is, you have not had any discussions with Mr. Weiss about this matter?
Under oath, my testimony today is that I promised the Senate I would not intrude in his investigation. I do not intend to discuss internal Justice Department deliberations, whether or not I had them.
Mr. Garland portrayed himself as independent of both the White House and the details of Mr. Weiss's investigation.
There is not one set of laws for the powerful and another for the powerless, one for the rich and another for the poor, one for Democrats and another for Republicans.
But he didn't have to ask Mr. Biden what he wanted. The president had already signaled to prosecutors that there should be no indictments in an interview on MSNBC.
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong. I trust him, I have faith in him, and it impacts my presidency by making me feel proud of him.
The one interesting nugget that Mr. Garland offered was that he hadn't considered anybody else for special counsel other than Mr. Weiss.
I have no doubts about his abilities in this area.
He was the only one under consideration.
The question was whether to appoint someone, and I thought, I will say, what the consequences would be of trying to switch horses in midstream, but I did not consider any other person.
On July 10th.
No.
That Mr. Garland didn't consider any other person is an extraordinary admission, particularly given that the reason a special counsel became politically useful for Mr. Garland was because Mr. Weiss had brought the Justice Department's credibility into question. The first hit came from IRS agents testifying that Justice interfered with their investigation into Hunter.
At every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of this investigation.
Then came collapse of the sweetheart plea deal that Mr. Weiss had cut previously for Hunter, after federal judge Mary Ellen Noreika asked some very basic questions.
What I'm wondering is why you guys let the statute of limitations lapse for those tax years that dealt with Burisma income.
There's one more fact that's important, and that is that this investigation was being conducted by Mr. Weiss, an appointee of President Trump. You will, at the appropriate time, have the opportunity to ask Mr. Weiss that question, and he will no doubt address it in the public report that will be transmitted to the Congress.
The next time Republicans demand a special counsel, perhaps they'll learn the lesson of Merrick Garland. A special counsel may be the best way to duck accountability.